Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Dubuis Sympathie 37. You can see this 18 karat white gold automatic dress watch on our website. Purchase it there, and if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time to see our full listing for this watch with additional high resolution images, accessories included, and naturally complete pricing details. On my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference. This watch has an unconventional shape, but a handsome profile that works incredibly well with a tight sleeve or dress cuff. Now you can see the cushion case of the original Dubuis Sympathies. This was one of the original lines that the company launched when it was conceived in 1995 as a high horology avant-garde alternative to the likes of Vacheron Constantin, Patek Philippe, Dubuis himself a former complications engineer for Patek. Now 37 millimeters across the broad of the case from 9 o'clock to 3, that's not including the crown. It's delightfully slim thanks to an ultra-thin automatic winding caliber, only 8.5 millimeters above the wrist. You can see with the nicely sloped case flank and a flat sapphire, a dress cuff or sleeve can easily ride up and over the edge of this watch. It does have good span in spite of its traditional proportions. A 37 millimeter watch, it is 47 millimeters from extremity of lug to opposing extremity, so the stance across the wrist is quite contemporary, and because of the bold, again, avant-garde shape, very modernist, not a traditional cushion and definitely not round, the watch is very distinctly Dubuis. Now you can see the characteristic second generation Sympathie Sapphire. The first generations were actually shaped like the case, but they wouldn't seal against water. The second generations, represented by this watch here, featured a round sapphire that allowed for better hermeticity. Now the watch is 18 karat white gold, so it has good heft on the wrist. The heft reminds you you're wearing precious metal, and so does the substance of this superb Dubuis monotone stitch navy blue bolstered strap. Now the bolstering is impressive. You can see the thickness of the strap as it abuts the lug. There's a very fluid transition from strap to lug because it's an almost 1-to-1 ratio, thickness to thickness. Now the lugs are fixed by screws. It's the more expensive way to fix a strap to a watch because you have to create these threaded lugs. More expensive but also more secure. It showed that Dubuis was cutting no corners in the creation of these early timepieces. Now underneath there is a very supple calf skin for a smooth feel against the skin, and the watch is paired with a handsome traditional and easily adjusted faceted white gold pin buckle. Now the case itself makes superb use of double finish. You can see across the tops of the lugs as well as the flanks of the bezel, beautifully polished to a high polish gleam, and then on the flanks of the case as well as the lugs, you can see there's a vertical satin striation that mutes the impact of the light so the watch doesn't appear overwrought. There's just enough reflective surface to make the watch appear beautiful, almost like a white gold halo around that beautiful cream-colored lacquered dial. And it is an incredibly handsome dial, featuring black print on a sort of cream lacquer. It also features applied dart indices and stylized Roman numerals in 18 karat white gold. You can see at the center, blued foy hands indicate the time, and there's a superb contrast against the backdrop of that dial. Now, you do have the Observatory chronometer certification called out at 6 o'clock, Bulletin d'Observatoire. It is a Besançon observatory chronometer, not conventional Swiss COSC. You can see the Dubuis logo inset crown, and then on the case back you can see the filigree style Dubuis logo cut into the winding mass of the Dubuis caliber RD57. Now it is a French certified Besançon chronometer. This is a tribute to watchmaking past, to an era when the observatory in Besançon was an incredibly important part of the watchmaking industry within Europe. Dubuis is a traditionalist, so he had the Besançon chronometer certification attained, but he also had the watches through his business partner Carlos Diaz certified Geneva hallmark, so it is both a chronometer, a French chronometer, and Geneva hallmark certified with the poinçon visible across from the balance just beneath my thumb. Now in the early days, Dubuis and Diaz created watches that were yes, very much avant-garde in their appearance, but hyper-traditional in their finishing. You can see the beauty of the Geneva waves, the Côte de Genève across the bridges and the rotor. You can see the beautiful black-polished swan's neck regulator atop the balance, beating away at 4 Hz or 28,800 vibrations per hour. There is a tight and even perlage across the base plate that you can see next to the stamp of the poinçon, as well as beautifully polished screws with chamfered slots. And you can see the dual mainspring barrels The RD57 is based on what was once known as the Longines L990, an ultra-thin, sub-3 millimeter thick automatic developed in the late 70s. It featured unidirectional winding, approximately 44 hours of power reserve. In this configuration, 25 joules, and you can see one of the mainspring barrels, to aid the thickness of the movement, is actually an open barrel. The dual barrels don't assure unconventionally long power reserve. What they ensure is superbly even torque release throughout the duration of the power reserve that the watch does have for superb chronometric performance, as evidenced by the watch's chronometer certification. Now, Roger Dubuis took these base calibers and finished them to the nth degree. They are literally works of art in their own right, with so much work put in by the Roger Dubuis manufacturer that these are really neither fish nor fowl. They're not the Longines movements that they started as, and although they're not quite manufacture, the simple pedigree of having been finished to this standard means that they're certainly more Roger Dubuis than they are Longines. And in fact, this movement has been shared with everyone from, over the years, Ebel, Vianney Halter, Ulysse Nardin, and Breguet, and of course Roger Dubuis. So the use of this movement bears out its superb underlying engineering, and the thinness of it speaks for itself as a work of high horology, enhanced to the highest degree by the artisans of Roger Dubuis. You can see this historic Roger Dubuis Sympathie 37 in white gold and purchase it on our website.